The cold winter weather is coming, and the team at Peerless Boilers, they're ready to help you prepare for this season. It's time to make sure your home is nice and warm for the cold weather. Save loads of money on your fuel bill. Do it now before it's too late and you've got a mess on your hands. Start thinking about replacing your old beast of a boiler with a new high-efficiency Peerless Boiler. Go to peerlessboilers.com, pop in your zip code, and you'll find a dealer near you. Remember, Peerless Boilers, the world's best-built boilers, and proud sponsor of Sid and Friends in the Morning, live from Israel.
This is John D'Agostino with D'Agostino and Associates, the injury firm, and I'm proud to be a sponsor and partner of WABC Radio and Sid and Friends in the Morning, live from Israel. God bless America.
I'm attorney Jenna D'Agostino, continuing the legacy my father, John D'Agostino, started 35 years ago.
I grew up on these New York and New Jersey streets. They shaped me. I'm attorney John D'Agostino from D'Agostino and Associates, the injury firm.
Call our team first.
888-24-LAW-24. 888-24-LAW-24. D'Agostino. Law Bite Back.
Sid and Friends in the Morning, live from Israel.
WABC.
What? I don't feel paper. What are you missing?
I like the way your sparkling earrings lay against your skin so brown, and I wanna sleep with you in the desert tonight, with a billion stars all around, 'cause I got a peaceful, easy feeling, and I know you won't let me down, 'cause I'm already standing on the ground.
2:16 here in Israel, 7:16 a.m. back home in New York City as we start hour number 2 of this October 7th edition. Sid and Friends in the Morning. Again, Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman. He's set to join me in about 30 minutes. Coming up about 8:30, the great attorney Alan Dershowitz will also speak to Eve Harrow. But the big one coming up in about an hour at 8 o'clock this morning, my friend President Donald J. Trump. But right now I've got a very special guest in the Sderot Studios in Israel. Her name is Adele Raemer. And I've been told, at least, Adele, that you and I may differ somewhat politically, but that's not what this is about today. Adele was here on October the 7th. And in fact, I believe the terrorists were actually knocking on her door. I think your son also ended up killing one of the bad guys, but I'll have you tell the story. So, Adele, good morning. How are you?
Well, good morning. This has been the craziest drive. I drove through rocket fire to get to you.
Where'd you come from?
I was on my kibbutz Nirim. We had our ceremony this morning for a year on, and the roads are just
packed,
jam-packed,
yeah.
and rockets. So
rockets, yeah. We were in the bomb shelter.
Know, I'm from the Bronx.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Yeah, you look tough. I've been told you're very, very tough. Between all the kibbutzim that were attacked that day, some worse than others, and the Nova Music Festival, that highway, I guess, is 232. Is that what it is?
232.
232. It looks like the Cross Bronx Expressway. It's jammed.
It's worse. Let me tell you, it's worse.
It's worse. Well, listen, I know that a year ago today, was so painful. Thank God I was also told you had 3 grandchildren, that their lives were in peril, but everybody survived. But take me back to that fateful morning a year ago today. You're at home. What happens?
Okay, I'm at home. I had planned on getting up early to go out before sunrise to take pictures in the fields, but I was too tired, so I didn't do that. And suddenly at 6:29, incoming rockets started blaring, and it was such a heavy barrage that I immediately, first of all, ran to my safe room. We all have safe rooms in our houses. And I couldn't stand up to close the window to prevent shrapnel from coming in because it was just such a heavy barrage.
So that's how it started for you. It started more with the rocket fire than it did with the Hamas guys coming door to door.
That was the camouflage. The rocket fire was to keep everybody's eyes off of the border because the border was being infiltrated in at least 120 spots.
Wow.
So after a while, we were told that Israel has been invaded. Go out, lock your doors and your windows, and then go back inside.
When you said you were told Israel was invaded, that popped up on your phone?
Yeah, internal messaging system.
And that meant that there were people on the ground that were there to do harm.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so we were told to go back into our safe rooms and lock ourselves in. The problem with that is safe rooms don't lock.
They don't lock.
Safe rooms are meant to keep us safe from rockets, not from terrorists.
Uh-huh.
So the only way to keep it locked is by pulling down on the handle and just hoping and praying that whoever's on the other side of that door is not stronger than whoever's holding the handle down. So at one point, all of a sudden, I was in the safe room with my son.
How old is your son?
He's 33.
33.
And he was visiting me, and all of a sudden we hear shooting outside and Arabic outside, and we knew this was coming because we could see it from other people in the kibbutz calling for help, saying that they're shooting in Arabic and they're entering their houses and they're burning their houses.
Oh my God.
They arrived at us, and we heard them, and my son heard someone saying in Arabic, calling somebody away, and we didn't understand what that was, but I looked at my son and he looked at me. We told each other that we loved each other and basically said goodbye.
You thought it was over?
That was it. I was sure I was not going to see another sunrise.
Oh, my. So, but then they actually went as far as a terrorist as knocking on your door in Arabic, open up, right?
So they didn't ask open up. They were trying to break the door down, and they didn't. And then they started breaking into my window, and then they got called away. We'll never know what happened.
They got called
away.
But
when I opened the safe room door a little bit later, I saw that the window, they'd started breaking through the window. Now, my grandchildren were in another house with my son-in-law. He heard them entering the house. He told the children, I've got 3 grandchildren that live on Nirim, Ziv, Raz, and Yuval, aged 2, 6, and 8. He told them, hide under the blanket. You're going to hear a loud noise. Don't come out from under the blanket no matter what. I'm here. He waited until he saw the handle of the safe room starting to move. He kicked the door open and shot the terrorist right in front of the safe room door.
Wow.
He started going after 2 of them that were in the house. He realized that there were numerous highly armed terrorists outside. He didn't stand a chance, cut his losses, went back into the safe room, got down on one knee, lifted his gun, and waited. The next person to open that door was going to get a bullet.
These stories that you're telling me now are the case with so many people, but unfortunately for a lot of them, it did end in tragedy. Their sons and daughters were killed and babies were burned alive. I still live in New York. You moved out of the Bronx. You live here now. And I have to tell you, Adele, that whether we agree or disagree politically doesn't matter. If you would have said to me there was going to come a day where thousands and thousands of people were going to march in the streets of New York City, sympathizing with the murderers. I don't hear about Palestinians. Sympathizing with the murderers and not the victims. I would say to you, you're nuts. Or a White House that has constantly stabbed Bibi in the back. I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican, that's a fact. Not sending all the weaponry that Bibi needs to win this war. Not even saying the right things when they've had the opportunity. I would have said you were nuts. You're living in Israel. Are you not absolutely disheartened by the response from the world?
You know, I grew up in New York, and I grew up on the belief that you have to embrace your minorities. You have to help your minorities. That minorities are cultural diversity is something that's desirable. I don't understand what's happened. I don't understand where the best and the brightest in the world have all of a sudden gone derailed, off track.
I mean, crazy, right? Crazy. So did you know, I'm sure you did, it's a silly question because the people who live in the kibbutzim are so connected and so tight. It's your own little city, basically. And just about every kibbutzim around here was affected. I know that some, it was a Shabbos morning, it was a holiday morning, and some did not open the gates. Others, Hamas was able to get around that, enter from the back, or some car would drive through. They would speed up and follow the car through. So there were some kibbutzim that was spared that day. Couldn't get in. That wasn't the case with you guys, obviously. So you must know a lot of people, unfortunately, that were killed or family members that were killed that day.
More than I can even count.
Really?
I was a teacher in our school, in our regional high school, for almost 4 decades. I have a list 4 pages long with names that I wrote down of people that I knew personally that were kidnapped or murdered. My friend Judy, whose name I wrote on the back of my dog tag together with her husband. She was also American, also born in New York. They were out walking in the morning on their sunrise walk when they were murdered by the monsters. Their bodies were captured and taken to Gaza. They are still there with 101 other innocent people.
I'm glad you said that, because folks don't realize the animals, as you call them, Hamas, the bad guys, they don't care if they lose 1,000 people to kill an Israeli. With us, it's different. Every Israeli life is worth 1,000,000 of theirs, and it does matter. Whether you're alive or dead, we want the bodies back. So I believe there's 100 unaccounted for. I hate to say this, but if you ask me to be honest, maybe 30 are alive, maybe less. Doesn't matter. The Israelis want those bodies back, including the bodies of your 2 friends.
Absolutely. Israelis cherish life, whereas the Arabs honor death more than life.
You know, after 9/11 in New York, Adele, this is Adele Raemer, the Muslims actually made us change our lives. You know, we always say the terrorists didn't win. Well, I got news for you. I take my shoes off at the airport. Why do I do that? Because they did win, okay? They have literally changed our lives. You know, you can't travel now without going through 3 or 4 things because of 9/11. How have your lives changed other than the emotional trauma?
My life, nothing in my life looks the same as it did a year and a day ago. Nothing. I can't live in my home. My home is still a closed war zone. We're refugees in our own lands. We're living in apartments in Beersheba. I've lived on a kibbutz, communal life, not suburban, but, you know, country life for over 4 decades, almost 5 decades I've lived there. Nothing in my life is the same. I don't live in the same community as my children anymore. Nothing in my life is the same. I've lost so much, but we're strong and we're resilient and we will rebuild. I've been on a coast-to-coast speaking tour. I just got back less than a week ago. I'm raising money to rebuild Nirim, and we're going to rebuild bigger and better and stronger and safer than ever before, so people will be able to come back.
367 days. That's a number, huh? You write it on your shirt.
Number.
You change that every day?
Every day I change the number.
That started
on my
with,
shirt.
I think, our friend Rachel Goldberg, right?
It did.
Yeah. We actually visited the bomb shelter this morning that Hirsch was in before he was abducted and then eventually executed. Yeah, that's right. In the final 30 to 60 seconds, what's your message to Americans, Jewish, non-Jewish, listening in New York in big numbers right now?
Americans need to understand that we are dealing with a civilization, with a culture that is very different from ours. We cannot look at it through the same prism of American glasses. It's not the same. And I'm the first person that would say, I want peace. Israel will make peace with anybody who's willing to make peace with us. But American Jews have to trust the fact that we want peace, and if we're making war, it's because we don't have any choice.
No choice. Yeah, I agree. You are a lovely and brave and great lady, and I'm glad you stopped by today. I'm sorry I had to sit in traffic. But hopefully we will see you and speak to you again very, very soon, and be well, okay?
It'll be my pleasure. You too. Shana Tova.
Shana Tova. That is Adele Raemer, folks, brave, beautiful lady who went through, as you heard of it, all of it there last October the 7th, and thank God is here today to tell us all about it.